great. Dr. Sutton is a great inspirational speaker.
He's just genuinely an entertaining guy, and
could listen to him for hours.
It's not all just about book smarts or just about following orders.
He includes new songs that engage the students.
It's about being motivated and being passionate to really do something.
Keep us entertained. You're not slumped over, falling asleep.
And I just think he's a tremendous person and very inspiring.
Right? Is this the most hyped university in America? All right. Man, you almost scared me with that. So I paid those people a lot of money to say there was good things about me, so hopefully I can get you to do it for free. But anyway, I'm Dr. Anthony Sutton. This is my book, See It Through. So, everybody ready? Good, 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 good. So, when you're up against the trouble, meet it squarely face to face. Lift your chin, set your shoulders, plant your feet and take a brace. When it's vain to try to dodge it, do the best that you can do. You may fail, but you may conquer. See it through. Now I'm gonna say some things today that you may relate to, some things that you can kind of feel. So if I do, are there any freshmen in the house? Raise your hand if you're a freshman. Woo, that's a lot of freshmen. All right. So freshmen, if I say something today that you can understand, that you can relate to, just say, I feel you. You feel me? Okay, let's act like we're in a black church. You feel me? Okay, good. All right, there we go. So I'm Dr. Anthony Sutton. I'm also the CEO of MDI Prep. I graduated from UT Houston Medical School, and all that's wonderful, but I also was a homeless teen. I grew up in Houston, Texas, in an area called Third Ward, Texas. Anybody know what Third Ward is in Houston? That's where I grew up. And when I grew up in a household with one of those fathers that you just didn't play with. You feel where I'm coming from? He was the kind of, you could play in everybody else's yard, you just couldn't play in our yard. Y'all feel me? Yes. He was the kind of dad that said, it's either my way or the... That's right. When you're in my house, you're going to follow my... Oh, okay, y'all heard this before, right? Okay, we're good. Well, imagine what happened one day. I come home, and I had this report card, and I had all A's and one F. Now, you can feel where this is going, right? So I'm thinking about taking this report card home, and you know how when you're trying to get home with an F on your report card, it takes that's a very long walk, but it's very short. You feel where I'm coming from? So I get home, and I'm thinking about what am I going to do about this report card? And so I looked at that F, and I said, you know what? That F sure looks like an A. Because back then, they used to write the report cards in ink. So I figured in my wisdom that I could easily turn that F into a... So I would just get my blue pen, even though the report card was in black, I put a little line, and I changed that report card from an F to a... Gave it to my mother, and I was so happy, because I figured, you know what? I got by. My mother looked at the report card twice, and she said, why is this in two different colors? I said, I don't know. She said, why don't I call your teacher and ask her? I said, well, no, Mama, the truth is, I really got an F in that class. Now, the fact was I was not afraid of who? I did not want her to tell who. Good. So you understand that. So I'm sitting there begging her, because my dad gets off in 2 hours. I'm begging her, Mom, don't tell who? I'm on my knees, and you know what I'm really saying?
Don't tell, you ain't, don't tell him, don't.
Y'all feel me, right? I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. Medical doctors are not supposed to be that cool with songs like that, right? It just happens that way. So anyway, she told him. And when he came home, I don't know if any of you know, do you know what an extension cord is? Oh, yeah, I know. I got the worst extension cord whipping of my life. And so I convinced my mother that I had some place to go, but the truth was I didn't have any place to go. And I ended up going to this abandoned elementary school that was in Houston. And I went and I took my backpack and I stuffed it with my clothes, and I went to this elementary school and I put this backpack on the ground. And that night when I went to sleep, I told myself one thing: I didn't want to wake up. Now, I didn't want to kill myself, but I just didn't want to wake up to the concrete. You feel where I'm coming from? And even though I didn't want to wake up, something happened the next morning. The sun came up anyway. And so I said, you know what, I'll stay on this concrete for maybe about a day or two. After that, I'll figure out what I need to do. And that one night turned into 3 weeks that I was sleeping on that elementary school concrete. And while I was sleeping on that concrete, I kept saying to myself, this concrete is not a place for me. Everybody feel where I'm coming from? And you know what I was thinking?
But still my soul refuses
Has anybody ever
to
felt like that?
die.
And that was what I was thinking. That even though I'm on this concrete, I'm not going to die on this concrete. There's got to be something else better for me out there. Y'all feel where I'm coming from? And so what I decided to do, I didn't know what was going to change, but I knew my life had to change some kind of way. So I put my backpack on and I went to school that day, and I was at the library, and this librarian came up to me and gave me an envelope because he knew I was homeless. And inside the envelope was $2 and the name of this place called the Covenant House, which was a place for homeless teens in Drive. She said, you can stay here as long as you want, but you're going to have a job. Now I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. I'm already homeless. I'm going to school, but now you got to have a job. So the next day I went out looking. I went to Burger King. They told me, sorry, we're not hiring. Went to McDonald's. I'm sorry, we're not hiring. My grandmother, before she passed, she said, Anthony, anything you want in life, you got to put your stamp on it. And she said, if you put your stamp on it and you claim it, you got it. Everybody feel me? So I decided, you know what, I'm going to put my stamp on it. I'm claiming it. I'm getting the job. The next day I walked out, and I went to this area in Houston called River Oaks. Anybody know where River Oaks is? River Oaks is a nice neighborhood. I know what you're saying, Dr. Sutton. Wait a minute. You went to Burger King, McDonald's, Whataburger. They told you no. You're not going to find nothing in River Oaks. But you remember I told you the night before I put my what on it? My stamp. So I looked at the bus boys, and the bus boys were wearing these white dress shirts and these black dress pants, and something came to me. I had $2 in my pocket. So what I did was I took the $2 and I went to this place called the thrift store, and I bought me a white dress shirt for 50 cents and some black dress pants for $1. The next day, when Del Fresco's opened up and the bus boys walked in and started cleaning tables, I walked in and I started cleaning tables. I didn't ask them were they hiring or anything, right? I figured the worst they could do is tell me to get out. And while I'm there, let me tell you how purpose works. Everybody say purpose. I guarantee you woke up this morning because you had purpose. If your purpose in this life was over, guess what? You wouldn't have woke up. So I figured if they were going to kick me out, they were going to kick me out as soon as I walked through the door. The assistant manager was off that day. Wow. So I'm working today, and they bring in this team called the Houston Rockets for a private dinner. They come in for this private dinner. The head waiter comes over to me and says, listen, I want you to be the busboy for this table. I'm thinking that's pretty cool considering I don't even work there, right? Now, at the end of the night, you know what? I'm coming back tomorrow whether they tell me no or not. So the owner, not the assistant manager, the owner comes up to me and says, listen, I'm glad Jim, which was the assistant manager, I'm glad he hired you. I said, sir, the truth is he told me y'all weren't hiring. He said, wait a minute, hold on. You mean you worked here all day for free? I said, well, I figured if I showed you what I could do, then you would end up hiring me. And he hired me on the spot. And I worked there the entire senior year, my entire senior year. See, that taught me my first lesson in life. Is sometimes everything in life is not going to come to you. Sometimes you got to do what? Go get it. You feel me? In college, I had a .55 GPA. Oh, nobody feel me on that, huh? Okay. .55 GPA. 2 F's, a D, and a C. Coach calls me in and says, listen, Anthony, you're going to have to bring your GPA up to a 2.0, or we're going to have to kick you off the football team, lose your scholarship. So I said, okay, I started working. So you know what you do when you got to figure out what you got to do. I started putting all the numbers together. If I make all A's in these classes, so I took every PE class I could take just to get my GPA up to a 2.0. Everything is not going to come to you. Sometimes you got to what? Go get it. Now, my GPA is getting better. Next semester, 3.7. That's pretty good, right? Third semester, 3.6. Boy, my overall GPA is rocking. And that's me, Dr. Sutton, back in 1989. I know what you're saying. Dr. Sutton, you still fine. It's hard, but I try. And I say, sir? He said, yeah. I said, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. He said, what do you want to do? I said, well, I want to be a veterinarian. So I decided I'd go find a veterinarian. So I went to a veterinarian, I found one, and I said, sir, do you mind if I shadow you? He said, no problem. 2 weeks later, they bring in this pit bull that's hurt. And he says, Anthony, I need you to go out and bring the pit bull back so we can take a look at him. I go out, and the pit bull starts growling at me. So I go back, and I tell the veterinarian he doesn't want to come. He says, Anthony, you got to understand that the animal is more afraid of you than you are of him. I said, okay, what do I know? I got a 2.5, right? So I walk back out there. And as soon as I get close to the pit bull, he gets quiet. At this point, I'm realizing that he realized that I'm in charge. I take that one extra step, and that pit bull grabs a hold of my jacket, and he's hanging on to my jacket. And some kind of way I'm able to get away from him. I go back and I tell the veterinarian, sir, he's just not going to come. So he goes back, and the veterinarian brings the pit bull like he's a puppy. At the end of the day, the veterinarian says, Anthony, if you're going to be a veterinarian, you cannot be afraid of your patients. So at that point, I realized I wasn't going to be no veterinarian. He said, Anthony, I'm glad you've come to your senses. I said, yes, but I think I want to go to medical school. Because I'm not afraid of people. He said, but Anthony, you have a 2.5 GPA. So I said, well, you know what? He doesn't know about the concrete I came from. Y'all feel where I'm coming from? And all of a sudden, I started hearing him say, you're not good enough for medical school. And I stopped, and I turned around. And I turned around for 10 years. So I called my mother up, and I said, Mom, I said, you remember 10 years ago when I was in college and what I wanted to do? She said, yeah, you wanted to go to medical school. I said, yeah, I did. I said, I sure would like to, but I'll be almost 40 if I go to medical school. She said, well, you're going to be 40 whether you go to medical school or not. And I started thinking, isn't that true? So I got so excited, I went home, and I thought about it, and I said, you know what? The only way that I'm going to get to medical school is that I got to change my thinking. Everybody feel me? So I put a picture of UT Houston Medical School up in my house. I even threw a party before I got into medical school. And I invited everybody over to the house and said, guess what? This is my going to medical school party. So one of my buddies comes over and says, man, congratulations. I said, I hadn't got in yet. Something miraculous happened. That was, I graduated from UT Houston Medical School. Now I was at Sam's getting ready for my real graduation party. And while I'm at Sam's, this is 4 years later, guess who I run into? My ex-fiance. She said, hey, Anthony, how you doing? I said, oh, I'm good. She said, what are you up to? Oh, nothing much. She said, what's all that for? I said, well, I'm having a party. She said, party for what? I said, well, I'm graduating medical school. She said, for real? I said, yeah, for real. She said, you're graduating medical school, for real? I said,
It's going down for real.
It's going down for real. Now, who in here is going to medical school? Raise your hand. Good. Now, when you flip the script, you're going to put your what on it? Your stamp. Good. Now, when I say put your stamp on it, you're going to stamp it 10 times, but you're going to stamp it like you're really going to medical school. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, Baylor, and then you're going to stamp it. Ready? 1, 2, 3, Baylor.
I think that the biggest thing I'm taking out of this is that anyone can go to medical school, anyone can achieve their dreams, no matter where you come from, no matter the situation that you come from. You can do whatever you want to do as long as you hustle for it.
It was really good. I just felt like really encouraged by Dr. Sutton. He just made me feel like I'd have a chance for medical school, even more so.
Honestly, I learned that I should try to be more confident because Dr. Sutton went through so much and he is an amazing person now, and I feel like I can do just as much as he can.
Well, from this program, I got that that you can do whatever you want as long as you put your mind through it. Dr. Sutton, he literally started from the bottom. Being able to see that just encourages me and everyone here.
I thought it was just going to be like any other program, but it wasn't, obviously. I loved it, and I thought it was, it just changed my whole mindset about how to work hard and how to really set goals for yourself and try to accomplish them the best you can.
Inspiration and confidence. I feel like I've been completely turned around and inspired, and that I know what I need to do now, and I know that I need to be more confident in myself.
Everybody in this room is going to medical school. Congratulations.